a guy messaged me about, because you know me and Janae were doing a podcast, All Things Love podcast, and a guy messaged me and he was saying he sent like this whole thing about his relationship and he wanted us to talk about it. And he's in like a polyamorous relationship, and I was like, oh wow, this is interesting, the things he was saying.
How do you feel about that?
About being in a
like just when he was just
like, what are your thoughts on
the whole idea of polyamory?
I feel like if that's what you like, if that's what you like, if that's what you want to do, if that's what you're into, you know, do whatever you feel you want to do. But for me and mine, no thank you. Okay. I just don't want to share. I'm not a sharer. Not with my man. I don't want to share. I'm a little I'm not jealous. I'm not territorial. I could probably be a little territorial. I don't want to share. Like what's mine is mine. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. But I mean, whoever else wants to do that, I mean, do your thing.
The way you leaned into the mic and said it was like, "What's mine is mine."
What's mine?
The topic tonight, we were talking about our standards when it comes to dating. That's where we left off at.
Let's see.
Cause for me, recently I can see the idea of it.
Yeah, you would be open to it. What about you, Ethan?
I would.
Yeah.
Not for the obvious reasons of what you would think.
Okay, like, so y'all gotta dig into it. So
she's like, I want to know now.
Yeah, I want details because that's the thing. When he was explaining it to me, it was like, of course, some rules that come with it, some boundaries they want to have set for sure, and he's doing it because the woman that he's dating is into that. And so he's really into her, so he's like, okay, I'll do it, but she brought it to him.
Does she know you?
I don't know her.
I wonder why he came to you.
Because of the podcast. So we asked people for like different topics that they want to hear us talk about, and he sent it to us.
He wanted y'all to talk about that.
Yeah. Okay. So this is gonna be good. So y'all go ahead and tell me what y'all feel and y'all thoughts on it, and you know why y'all are interested in it. And this will kind of give me a idea of, I'm just interested anyway.
Right.
So
because it's different.
It's different. It's different.
Okay. You want to start with that?
Yeah, I can start it off. Or you want to start it off, or
we can go. She wants because we'll get into the standards, but we can just go with it.
I feel so. I feel like what got me interested in the idea of a poly relationship. Honestly, sex is an afterthought. Because we date women together. I don't know if you knew that about us, but we occasionally, it doesn't happen often. We haven't been on a date in a few years with another woman just because we've really been focusing on our business and bettering ourselves and things. So we really haven't had the time to entertain the idea of it just yet.
Because you do have to make time for dating.
Yeah, very much.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. So two things. The ideal. So to start off with, the reason why I feel like poly could be a great asset as far as a relationship is because time. Let's say for example, do you plan on having children? Okay, so for example, like me and her are both entrepreneurs, so we're extremely busy. So if we want children one day, so if realistically if we wanted to have children and be able to raise our children without having to always have them in daycare or always having them over somebody else's house, that is something where a poly relationship can benefit. Because remember, we're not talking about a side chick. We're talking about
someone in the relationship.
Yeah, so just like how that man is yours, that woman is yours as well.
Okay.
Like it's in that type of situation, there's no lying, there's no cheating. Similar boundaries and standards that we have for our relationship would obviously be in place, where communication is a huge key. But that is one thing. The second thing would be finances. Okay. Because me and her are on a life journey. We have a life purpose, and we plan when we die one day. We plan on leaving a legacy on this planet. So we're not rich as of yet. We plan on being rich, but as of now, we're not rich. It'd be great. We would be having this podcast on the beach somewhere. Okay. But so that's another thing where if you're investing in things of that nature and building wealth, that is, you have 3 streams of income instead of 2. So yeah, those would be my top two things. Also, it's people always ask, well, like, what about the children in that situation? Like, I personally know I know a few people that are in poly relationships.
And they actually joined our live yesterday. They're in a poly relationship, and they came on and just told us their benefits because, you know, they have kids together and how it works. And a lot of times, so for me, I guess to answer the question, for me, I don't consider myself bisexual, but I do find women attractive. So I don't consider myself bisexual just because I would never be with a woman by myself. But if I do find them attractive, then I would be with a woman. Just it has to be a man involved as well.
Okay.
So he brought it to my attention because he was like, you know, we were just talking about it, and then after we decided to start dating women, then I was like, okay, well, my biggest thing with that is that I can do the dating part. It was bringing the person home. Like, oh, she's not leaving. You know what I mean? Like,
living
in
part.
In the part. Because then at that point, you can, I don't know about you, but for me, I can turn, if it's just lust, I can turn that off. Like, if we all just have a thing where it's like, okay, this is just something that we're doing because of the attraction we have on a lust level. That's cool. But now, we're in love. That's different. So that was the hard part. But I would say what kind of made it easy for me to start understanding ideas, like if we both love this person and they love us, so then we're all on the same accord. That's different versus just being another woman and she doesn't add value to us and we don't add value to her. And then when my sister started staying with me, she has 3 kids. She left the guy she was with at first, but she, you know, that's a whole nother story. But so when she came here, we're having 3 kids. I can see it's just so much.
It's a lot.
And to be honest, it's so much that I don't even see how just 2 people can handle it. Yeah. Especially when you start having more and more kids, because you can't really get that one-on-one. Now, I'm not saying you got to have another person for every kid you have to have that one-on-one. But I would say, like, with us 3, we were just, obviously we're not with my sister, but just with it being like with us being here helping my sister, if she's cooking, one could give a bath, and then one's able to do this, and then it's easier for us to maneuver throughout the household, especially when it comes to women. Even if within the household, for us, men are very important in a relationship, and they're very important in parenting. But I would say women, we have more roles than men, if that makes sense, when it comes to running the household. Men have everyone's role is important. We just have more roles. Now, if you bring in another woman that helps take care of those roles, especially if you're bringing kids in, I feel like it's just easier.
Okay,
that's just my opinion, because watching it with us being here, seeing her, I'm like, I don't know how she did it without having extra help. With just her. I'm like, I'm already tired, and you still gotta work, and it's like her day never turns off. So imagine having other help, and if you do have to work, you come home, you're able to like actually breathe for a little bit, or if you want to sit on the couch, depending on whatever your dynamic, because the good thing is you can create the dynamic you want. If there's a girl that's like, no, I want to be the stay at home, then when we come home, we can kind of like cook, or we can kind of like let her relax, and then someone else hangs out with the kids while one person cooks, or however the relationship works.
So if she does decide to like stay at home and be that stay at home person, parent in the relationship, how would she contribute to the finances?
Honestly, she
saving on daycare.
Oh, true. That's a big contribution. Yeah, that's true.
When my sister came out,
my
sister's paying $450 a week.
Yeah, daycare is very, very, very expensive.
She's paying rent for her daycare.
A week.
Even week. She pays over $1,800.
That's my car note.
Your car note?
Not $1,800. No.
Jesus Christ.
No. What kind of car you got?
Like, we need to go take this.
That's why you're my sugar mom.
That's my sugar mom. I was like, $1,800 for a car note?
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, and that was another thing.
Like, what's her house note?
Right.
So, having her here, it kind of like, because she's definitely my sister. It wasn't nothing like that going on. But even having her here, the way that we all collaborated, communicated.
I was like, I can see how this works.
The 3 of us would have, like, for example, like the kids, they had this thing where they would talk back to her. And I'm not a parent, but I'm really good with kids. Like my aunt, between my aunt and my mother, they both raised me. So I had a great examples as far as what to be, you know what I mean? And also I have my uncle too. So it's like to see the role that he played, he really didn't talk much, but when he says something, people listen. And I've realized like for example, my nephew, he does this thing where he's going through his terrible twos, and he has this thing where he'll like like he'll talk back to her, tell her no. Her daughter will do the same, but I was an uncle, but I realized how much of an impact that has. It made her life 10 times easier, because then when she tells them to do something and they want to try to pull all of that, I'm like, hey, like, we're not doing that. Like, you know what I mean? I've never had to whoop them once, but I really only have to tell them to do something once. But seeing how they work together, because typically, like, I do all of the, like, I would say technical jobs where like she needed her brakes fixed, or like there was the toilet broke, I went and fixed that. Like I do that type of stuff, but as far they cooked and cleaned, so it was like, you know, they were efficient at it. It'll take me
right. So while she's cooking, he could have been doing something, and then I'm getting the kids ready. I'm like getting them ready for their bath and stuff. So it all worked out, and I was like, imagine if she had to do all that by herself. You know what I mean? Having two definitely helps, but I just feel like having more. And then even if she wasn't a stay-at-home mom and we're all working, then that's when the income would really help as well.
Okay, so more so from like a easier to handle life's tasks sort of thing with being polyamorous.
If you take the sex out, because there's a lot of videos I've been watching, they're like, how long should you last in bed? I don't know if you ever seen any of those.
No.
So there's like a lot of people going around just asking people like, how long should you last in bed? And then normally people, because you know in songs they talk about having sex for hours, but in reality I don't even know. I've never had sex probably more than an hour at a time. You know what I mean? Like I have sex like multiple times throughout the day, but like if I don't time it,
like a full
but
blown
session, we don't even having sex for 3 hours.
It's like you'll have your moments where you go, but it's not like a regular occurring thing where
we're having sex for hours.
Yeah,
like,
that's like OD.
Like, we might get like 45, 50 minutes on like sometimes, like you said, depending on the moment.
Yeah.
It's Valentine's Day. We just taking our time.
But realistically, you don't have to. Yeah, it's not like a required. Like you don't. Yeah. And for women, like you don't. I mean, you know, that's a long. You don't always want to have sex that long. You just don't.
So realistically, people have been saying anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
What was that? Like, what was that? Like, you
gotta explain.
A better question. What are your thoughts on it?
I don't know. Like, I enjoy having sex for a good length of time.
An hour.
But I feel like 15 minutes.
It's not long enough.
It's not long enough unless it's like. To me, 15 minutes is a quickie.
Yeah.
Right,
okay.
Right.
And those happen. You know, you need those in your life every now and again. You know, you need your quickies in. But I don't want to just have sex for 15 minutes all the time, because at that point it's like you can't really even.
For women, they say it even takes up to 15 minutes to get aroused.
Yeah,
so like
exactly.
If we're having sex for 15 minutes, it's something where like the foreplay already started.
Yeah.
And then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's still a quickie. So even with us, if I had to put like on our relationship, I think we have sex. Like, I'm just doing an average. It's probably 35 to 45 minutes.
I think that's a good time.
But foreplay, with us, foreplay already starts before the sex.
Yeah.
It has to for me.
Yeah,
foreplay throughout the day. You know what I mean?
Starts the beginning of the day.
Yeah. So like, so the foreplay starts. So I would say anywhere from like 35 to 45 minutes is like average, unless we have those quickies or those days where it's like, all right, we've got time.
Yeah.
But realistically, you don't have time to just sit up here and have sex.
That's true.
So I feel like with the poly relationships, a lot of times it's hard because when people say I'm not sharing my man, because I get that a lot from a lot of people, and that's how I was at first. But your own, like the sex part is the minimum.
Yeah, and my thing is, I don't want to share my man emotionally. I don't want to share him romantically. Like, it's not just sexually. Like, I really don't want to share. Like, I don't know. I'm just such a. I don't know the word to describe it, but when we have our intimate moments and our emotional intimacy, I hold that sacred to us. Like, I don't want you to share that moment with anybody else, because that makes me feel that makes me feel special about what we have going on. That makes me feel a connection between us. And if you're doing that with someone else, now I don't feel as special anymore.
That makes sense.
Do you think that might be because of the relationship standards that we were taught?
No, because I don't really feel, honestly, like, taught from what?
like just like our societal norms.
Okay, societally. No, I feel like just for me as a person, like just for me and what I enjoy about the relationships that I've been in, that's one of the things that I really hold. Like I really value that. Like I feel something about that. Not nobody ever. I don't even think societally. Is that a word? Whatever. I don't even think that we'll go with it. I don't think they really talk about. I haven't really heard much about the emotional intimacy and the things like that. I don't really feel like they talk about that much, but I've experienced it, and I like the way that makes me feel. And it will really make me feel a way if you did that with someone else. Yeah,
I feel that because at the end of the day, that's what's up. But at the end of the day, I feel like, how am I trying to say? I feel like with our friends, that's the only thing we don't do with our friends. What? So I feel like sex.
Okay.
Realistically, like it's all these intimate relationships. A lot of stuff that you would share with a partner, you kind of share with your friend or your best friend. But we don't have sex with our friends. So then, like you said, the only thing that's sacred is that sexual moment, that intimacy moment with that person. But I feel, are you into women at all? You won't have to answer if you don't want to.
I'm not thinking. I'm trying to figure out how to answer this question. Okay. So I have had experiences with women in the past.
Okay.
Let me not say women, with a woman. Okay. Let me not put multiple.
She's like, I'm a pro now.
I do this. No, like I've had an experience before, so I don't really know.
Did you enjoy the experience?
It was fun. Okay. It was cool. It was different. I liked it.
And they came on to you, I'm assuming.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my very first and last experience with a woman.
So, based off of that experience, because you said you're trying to figure out how to ask, would you do that again right now with another woman?
I wouldn't, and the only reason why I say I wouldn't is because I have this vision of what I want, and it doesn't include that. So that's the only reason why I would say I wouldn't. If I'm going to be intentional about the life that I want, then the answer would be no.
Okay.
But if I'm just outside, want to have fun, like whatever, then I probably would. But that's just not where I am right now.
Okay. Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
What other questions did you have about it that you we haven't touched?
The polyamory? I'm just really y'all kind of gave me a different perspective on it. Y'all gave me a different perspective on it because I wasn't thinking about the actual life part of it, like doing life together. Like how it will contribute to the household and help out with like the kids and the daily house tasks. So okay,
I thought you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna say y'all gave me a different vibe, because we've gotten that from people like where we've told and they be like, oh yeah, y'all did give me. I knew y'all was a little different. Like,
oh no,
what does that even mean?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say that. But okay. So my question would be this, right? So say y'all bring somebody in, and everything is going well or whatever. But Ethan decides, okay, I don't really want to be with her anymore. But you feel like
with the other girl, okay.
But you feel like I'm in love with her. Like I don't want her to leave. And Ethan's like, well, I'm not. I don't want her to be here. What y'all doing?
That's a great question. You want to answer that first?
Yeah.
So you don't want her to be here?
Because it's you.
So it would really have to depend on the situation. So because me and her have a healthy relationship, if like typically it would have to. So for me to leave her, it would have to be something. It would have to be a red flag, so to speak, or like it would just have to not work, right? So, but overall, like for me, a relationship is. A relationship isn't, how can I put it? Looking at a relationship from a realistic point of view, a relationship isn't always a fairy tale. So I love her all the time, but I don't like her all the time. Just like she don't like me all the time. Like sometimes they be like, bro, like you getting on my nerves, or I'm getting on her nerves, whatever the case may be. So Am I good?
That was whatever it was you ate it. You good now?
Yeah. So like if it was a situation, so most of the time it would have to be where this person is either toxic or, you know, for me to feel like, okay, I can't work it out. Because once we make it real, and if it's not just a fairy tale, then we have a life purpose together. So realistically, if we're all being adults about it, it should be something that we can work.
Y'all can work through.
Yeah, like.
And I feel like you have to kind of give, because the best way I can answer that question too is, if we were to bring someone in our relationship, it's not going to be quick. Like, we're going to date for a while before we actually make it official, just to kind of make sure. So if you were to say, like, there has to be more than just he doesn't like her. You know what I mean? Because, like you said, there's going to be a lot of days that he says he doesn't like me, but certain days, but I feel like there's going to be days you're not going to want to be around the person. It's not that you don't necessarily like them. It's probably like, all right, I need my space from them. You know, they could be annoying you or whatever the case may be. So for us, I feel like before we got to that point, we would be friends for a while to kind of get to know the person. Because when you get to know somebody, because there's that marketing stage, and then you go to the part where like, okay, I'm getting to know somebody. Because then for me personally, even as friends, there's certain friends, I'm like, all right, well, I don't even know if we're going to be good friends anymore after that marketing stage, because you got to know the person. And I feel, as even with me and Ethan, like before we got together and kind of made it like official, like we want to get engaged and married and everything, you kind of know, unless the person's not growing with you, that's the only time, you know. So I feel like we will pretty much vet the person and know them, and they will vet us to kind of get, once we're out of our marketing phase, to see if we are compatible. Because if we're not compatible in the beginning, then we're probably not going to be compatible. But me personally, I'm not the best at judging people. I've met some people and I'm like, oh, these are great people, and they turn out to not be great people. But I would say with Ethan, he's actually really good with judging people, so he can kind of see a person true colors before it even comes out. He has, what do they call it, the instinct or the intuition. He's really good with that.
Yeah, that's good.
So I don't know. So for me, I feel like we just get to take your time. There's no rush. Like even with us, we waited 5 years before we got married. So you can wait. So like even if we bring somebody in a relationship, we can still be together without like let's actually date and see if we have anything in common, if our goals and stuff are still the same. Because like if she wants kids and we don't, or if we want kids and she don't, obviously it wouldn't work. Like those are questions that you have to get really good at asking in the beginning before y'all even go on. Because there's certain people
disciplining your children.
We have those questions.
What are your ideas as far as like your life, your purpose, or what are your core values, or like where is your morality?
Because we know people that got together and then one person wanted kids, but this person got her tubes tied. All right, so they already made up their mind they didn't want to have kids again. So, or is that the right person, or is that something that's considered, not a deal breaker? We're like, okay, if I never have kids, I'm fine. So I feel like when you get older, you start asking the right questions, especially when you start dating. So I feel like with where we all like where me and probably the other girl and him would be, is that we would ask the right questions at the beginning.
And then y'all would have even better questions to ask because y'all been in a relationship for so long. And y'all know how this relationship thing works. So y'all will know like the detailed questions
and you gotta also give the person enough time to still be them, because with us we get each other, but we did not get each other in the beginning. So we have to also know this relationship is kind of starting over, and
y'all are willing to go through that
for the right person.
If it's never the right person, then
we just
won't. But we just had the conversation where we're open to it. If we never meet that person,
y'all are still
we're good. We're still good. We're only doing it because I do find women attractive, but if it has to be the right one. And then obviously he finds women attractive, and then now seeing with kids, I'm like, okay, I'm on it. We have kids.
Because we're both on the same page as far as like we have both made the conscious decision to say, hey, we're not ready for children yet. Like we've had it, like we've even revisited it. Like, you think you're ready now? Shit, ask me, you think you're ready for?
When my sister come in here, I'm like, we both don't. We're like, I don't know.
I'm like,
no. I'm so good right now.
So, I think also too, what has helped our relationship grow so much is I've always had this saying where like a green flag for someone, like to me, is somebody that I can comfortably have an uncomfortable conversation with. Like if we can have that hard conversation. So like in the beginning I had that conversation with her as far as like telling her that I don't really consider myself monogamous because I find other women attractive. Because we went through that whole phase when we were younger. We went through that whole phase of her going over our niggas' houses or men's houses. Sorry, men's houses at 4:00 in the morning, and then but then also like her finding women in my phone. Like we went through that toxic stage. And to be honest, the only reason I forgave her for that is because it was extremely early when we first decided to make it real. And then, you know, so it's like, how faithful at this point do I really expect you to be when we're so fresh starting out? So, and then I had got caught doing stuff too. So I just felt like the adult side of me was just like, all right, well, I think we can work through this, but this is my final straw. Like, this is not something that's going to be going on, and then I'm just accepting it. But when it came to the conversation of like monogamy versus non-monogamy, like, I personally don't think monogamy is natural for a man. I don't think that means going out that doesn't mean, and it has nothing to do with like going out and sleeping with every woman in the world. Like that's not what I'm about either. And then also like it has nothing to do with deceit or lying, side chicks, side dudes, all of that. But I personally feel that once I started researching about our people before we came to the U.S., what were we living like? Like we're trying to figure out so much about ourselves. But you know, once I started to research further, like monogamy is like how they say it's frowned upon. It's not really like when you read it in the Bible, it's not really frowned upon like everybody says that it is. They're cutting out like 90% of the verse that talks about monogamy. So yeah, and again,
what does the verse say?
I don't know.
I don't know if I even ever heard a verse about monogamy, to be honest. Yeah, I had to research it. I had to look.
That's a great. I mean, personally, I do not know. That is.
I just know that's something that's what people say. Like you, one man, one woman, whatever. But I've never came across that biblically. Not saying that it's not there. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Right.
But I have seen it where kings had multiple wives and things like that.
Even now, like think about it. Like you have successful people. You like let's say like and I hate to really use celebrities, but you look at like Chris Brown or Drake or like men that are like they're technically kings, really, like they, you know,
they are, and
women are lining up by the busload, and they know for a fact that they talking to other men or other women, and they really don't.
They're okay with that. Or men.
As a man, I wasn't gonna play them like that, but I didn't mean to say that, but yeah, like you know, so it's. Realistically, I think that is, and also really like we only think about the rich when they do that, but realistically, like when you take away the stereotypes of it and take outside of the sex thing, when you really look at building families and building wealth, it puts you that much closer. Because I'm pretty sure it's now, especially with the cost of living. It's a lot harder for somebody with one income. Imagine putting two incomes together. That makes it 10 times easier. Imagine putting three. But then they're all on the same accord. Like, jealousy is normal. Even in our relationship, it's normal. Again, it's about how you handle that. And it has to be with the right people. It's not for everybody. It's not for every man either. Yeah. So, like, I think it would have to be with emotionally mature people. For sure. That can communicate.
Absolutely. It would have to.
Think about even monogamy. There's people that don't even understand how that works fully. Communicate. There's so many people when I talk to them about like what went wrong in your relationship, it's the communication. And I think one thing that also I liked about the polygamy or polyamory is what we would probably do is we're joint together because there's still so many forms of that. The thing is, I'm big on creating the lifestyle you want. So everybody's relationship is different, and that's what is fascinating to me because the way you do your relationship could be completely different from us. But I could still learn something from you, and you could probably learn something from us. Sure. I'm like, all right, let me implement this, or I'm okay with that, but vice versa. And one thing I would say when it comes to that is in those type of relationships, the communication and trust. A lot of times they focus on that so much because there's so many emotions, and you want to make sure this person's feeling good and that person's feeling good. In monogamy, sometimes a lot of times there's always a communication error, I guess you want to say. Like people just do not know how to communicate.
This is very true. People really do have a hard time with healthy communication. Like it's one thing to be able to communicate how you're feeling or what's bothering you or whatever the case may be, your wants and your needs and all the things, but it's another to be able to communicate that in a healthy way. Because communication yelling and fussing, and I'm still communicating, but it's not healthy, you know. So nobody's listening to you. So
I tuned out. Who you talking to?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And a lot of times, like, so another thing too with that being said, because a lot of times we always talk about like a man having more than one woman, but realistically, you think about like you're also like the women involved. I personally feels like it also benefits them tremendously as well, because then one, you also have a new best friend, or I hate the term sister wives because it just for me it's just cringy now because everybody uses it, but like you have somebody you have a bond with her, like, you know, somewhere it's just as close. It's just, you know, it's just as close.
It's I mean, I know you said you don't like the term sister wife, but it's almost in that sense. Like me growing up, I had a sister that I grew up with. If we ever had situations where we was feeling some type of way or mad or upset with our mom, we could like kind of like go in a room and talk about that and express our feelings, and we got each other on that level because we shared the same mom. So I could see that happening too, like when you share the same husband, they get you on a different level than with your friends.
And
maybe
then you also have that extra, like, and a lot of times when, let's say like you and your man get into it, right, like everybody has somebody that they want to talk to, so instead of going outside of your relationship to talk about somebody that doesn't know your relationship, they don't know your man they only know only thing that you're telling them. So their opinion or their advice may be, biased or one-sided. So when you're actually talking to somebody, again, if it's a healthy relationship, you can express your concerns, like, all right, well, like, even if, like, let's say if me and her had another woman, if the girl's, like, getting on her nerves, she could come to me and say, like, I'm really not feeling that, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, all right, well, maybe you should either talk to her or maybe, you probably tripping, bro. Like,
yeah, you could,
yeah, like, you can mediate. And if it's something where, okay, well, they're not seeing eye to eye, okay, then we all need to sit down and talk. So.
And then with me, I'm naturally just a person. If I have a problem with someone, I go to that person. Like in the beginning of our relationship, I did talk to like my mom. I probably was gonna leave Ethan like I don't know how many times. I called my mom. I'm leaving Ethan. She's like, all right, you can come here, and then I never leave. So I cried wolf a few times. So in the beginning of our the first year or two, or I would say the first year we didn't argue, but the second and third we started bumping heads a little bit, and that's when I was like, all right, I'm leaving, and I learned the third year that, okay, whatever I'm dealing with, I go to him. So now, even in our relationship, just with me and him, the communication, if I'm having a problem with something, sometimes I won't talk about it right then and there. If I'm hyped, I'll wait till I calm down. Or if he's hyped, or if we're arguing, I'll wait. But we have those conversations soon, and I go to him because that's who the person I'm having a problem with. Why would I go to you? If I'm
you
not
can't.
him?
Yeah, you can't do anything.
You can't do that. So I always go to the person. So if we did have someone else in the relationship, I'm going to you.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, we don't, like, honestly, I have nobody, there's nobody that I want to go and talk about my relationship.
Yeah.
Because then they all in my business.
They know things.
Yeah, and then they start treating,
it's always one-sided.
Might start treating her different.
Yeah, and
like,
you'll forget, but they won't.
Right, yeah. Or may not forget, but I forgave him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, like, they're, like you said, they won't, they're still attached to it. So now they treat her funny, like,
yeah.
And to be honest with you, if you're in a healthy relationship, y'all two are the most important people to each other. Especially like you think about marriage, because I know that there's this whole thing with like, how can you really be married in a poly relationship? Well, first of all, marriage license is only a license. It's only a contract. So you can literally build a contract with those same terms and agreement, you know what I mean? Having wills in place, so that way it's all organized. So but essentially is it
legal?
Not here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not legal. They're trying to legalize it.
Okay.
They're legalizing LGBTQ marriages, so I don't see why they wouldn't.
It might be coming soon, I'll be honest.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
In the court near you.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
So honestly, I mean, again, it's. I think it's something that it's something that I truly desire, but not something that I need.
Yeah.
Like I am happy in my relationship.
You're cool if it happens. You're cool if it doesn't.
Yeah.
We're just open to we're open to the idea. That's the conversation that you have to have with your partner. Y'all both have to be on the same
How
page.
did this conversation come about? Like,
that's a great question.
who brought it up and like why?
Yeah.
You
Of
brought
course,
it
it's
up.
always a man,
You
right?
brought it up.
Yeah. So it was remember I told you in the beginning, like she was finding women in my phone and stuff like that, and it hurt her. And so I told myself, well, if she's my best friend, and like, you know, if it was my sister or my best friend, I would be upset if they told me they got played by their dude. So why am I doing the same thing to my best friend? So, you know, luckily she forgave me, and you know, it was never anything that was like where I just full blown cheated on her.
You was just a conversation.
She always called me. She said I used to be a conversation whore.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so it got to a point. So after that, she did forgive me, and I was one of those people where she forgave me, and I'm not gonna make her regret that she forgave me. So time went by, and then I just started having the urge to like want to get to know another woman, or like finding women, like just being attracted to other women. And I was thinking in my head like, am I crazy like for feeling this way, or maybe this is just who I am? And so instead of me lying to her, I was just like, well, the feeling is not going anywhere. Like I've tried everything that I can do. I've tried looking up YouTube advice on like, you know, and I'm like, it's not working. So at that point I didn't cheat on her or nothing like that. I just was catching it before it got to that point. So one day I was like, well, let's have a conversation, and then
I'm confused. Whose camera?
Oh my!
I was like, wait, whose is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
so
looks
then,
better.
One day, like, you know, I had a conversation with her, and I was just like, you know, honestly, like, I don't really see myself being with one woman for the rest of my life. Like, and again, it doesn't mean that I have to just go sleep around and cheat around and, you know, be nasty. But which is not nasty. Do what you want to do. But I'm trying to slut shame nobody. You know, everybody ready to cancel
Not
somebody.
Slut shame.
Yeah, but like, you know, for me, I just was like, you know, that doesn't mean that I have to be out there. But, you know, I just wanted to be honest with you, so that way you have a choice if you want to stay with me or not. She was like, well, you know, we can stay together. Let's try to figure it out. You know, let's see what we can work out. So she was like, at first she was like, I ain't sharing my man with nobody. She was just like, no, I ain't sharing my man with nobody. And then one day, I had never been to a strip club. So I went to a strip club first by myself. And then I was going to tell her about it. I didn't plan on lying about it. And then when we was at her family house, I had the wristband on. And her mom and her aunt was like, where you come from? I was like, I went to Dave & Buster's for a little bit. Like, I did lie. I was lying because they were there.
Yeah.
I had already planned on telling her because I was going to take her with me. So then...
Because I've never been to a strip club at that point.
Yeah, so I was like going to take her with me. And then, so, you know, I had the band on. They were like, no, I ain't never seen Dave & Buster's have like...
Yeah,
it was like, you know the cow pattern, like the black and white kind of stuff? It was like, I never seen that pattern before. So then... after they left, I pulled her to the side and I was like, hey, listen, like my intention wasn't to lie to you. I didn't want to talk about that in front of your mommy or aunt. But I did go to the strip club, and if you want, we can go tomorrow. So then she was like, all right, bet, let's go. Like, she was excited about it. We went, we had a blast. And then, like, turns out I feel like she enjoyed it more than I did. Yeah, so from there, then that's when we started to have more of a conversation. And then one day she came home from work, just when she was a servant, she was like, there's a girl I find, she's so attractive. Like, yo, like, I think she's fine. Like, she's just talking about her. So then that's when we really started to explore the idea of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he came to me and he gave me the option to, if this is something he wanted to. And for me, I always found women attractive. But I've never was like, oh, like you can do that with your person, you know, like you can actually y'all can find women attractive together.
Yeah.
Like it's always like, okay, he has to do this, you gotta do that. But there's actually a lifestyle where if y'all like the same thing, y'all can do it together. Yeah. So for example, with business, we probably spend 100% of our time together, to be honest, because we just, like, he's my best friend. We really enjoy each other's company. So outside of our relationship, like, we experience a lot together. So I was like, well, if we can do this together, and then we'll kind of see where it goes. If it's something where it's just we do this and this is just how we have fun, then that's fine. If it's something we can build with, then we'll do that. A lot of, like, when we were dating, the only reason we're probably not in a relationship with someone else right now is because we haven't found somebody that has the same drive as us. The people we probably dated with, I was gonna say messed around, I guess I said messed around with, we had things in common, but it was more so just the partying, the good vibes, just the friends. Just, you know how you have some of your friends, y'all just chill.
Like friends in that category, but not in life.
Building together.
Yeah.
So we didn't have the same goals as far as what we wanted for our future. And that's the only reason why we're probably not in one right now.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And typically, like, for a life partner, they're rare.
Yeah.
Like how, like, you know how we all have standards? Like, believe it or not, like, there's been women that she's found, like, attractive.
And you like, nah. Yeah.
And vice versa.
I was going to ask y'all that too. Do y'all find the same women attractive?
No, but... No. So I would say yes and no. So our taste is actually extremely similar. Okay. But as far as variety of that taste, it would be different. Okay. But I feel like, I mean, there we go. That's that thing. We're, you know, the podcasting thing. We try to get out of saying and like, you know, certain phrases. Oh. Yeah. But essentially we know that it's like the right one when we're both like, all right, we feeling her. Like, if she tells me, like, oh, I think she's so cute. And I'm like, I know, right? Like, you know, that's... Then y'all explore. Then we're like, all right, well, let's shoot our shot.
Okay, so, next question. How do you... I got questions. How do you shoot your shot? How do y'all shoot your shot?
I'll let you answer that one.
That's a great question. I guess one story I can think of is we were actually in Arizona. This is like because there's a lot of ways. We have tried like Tinder, like communicating on there. We have tried. I don't. Me personally, I don't like dating online. Yeah. I can't.
Me either. I'm not an online dater.
One thing I hate about it is that we're gonna sit here and have all these. First of all, I don't know if you're real while I'm talking to you. And then two, we're gonna have all these conversations, and then we're gonna link up and have the same conversation. Yeah. To be honest. Yeah. So me personally, I'm an in-person kind of person. So I'd rather meet you in person. My friends,
because I don't have to. I feel like when you're online, you don't really know their vibe for real. So it's like, okay, this is cool. We texting back and forth. It's cool. I like you. But in person, it's like, okay, yeah, this isn't it. Right. And it's like, I feel like it saves you a whole lot of time when you just meet them in person because you already know our back.
Right. And if we meet online, I literally want to like, all right, when can we be in person? Like, let's be. We're scheduling something fast. Yeah. I don't want to go.
We're not doing all this for so long, wasting time.
That's too much. Because then we meet in person, it's like, okay, this is a waste of time. Yeah. So to answer your question, so there was one girl that we went to this club in Arizona. And normally I can give you so many different scenarios, but I'm gonna give you this one because I actually approached a girl, and that was something that was hard for me because I'm used to people coming on to me. A lot of my relationships, like even with us, he came to me, and as women, we're just used to that. Okay, we're just used to that. So for me to go to someone else, it was weird for me. So I'm gonna tell you the story. So we're at a club, and there's this like I could tell the girl was feeling me because we kept making eye contact when we were on the dance floor. And then the way she went, I knew she was going to the bathroom just because, you know, we've been to that club before. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Because you girls always talk in the bathroom, right? So she went to the bathroom, and then I went to the bathroom. And then, do you need this?
It's not going to stand up.
Yeah. Right. Here, you can use this if you want.
So I went to the bathroom, and then I'm just standing there waiting for the line. I didn't even have to use the bathroom. I'm just standing there, and then she comes out, and then she's just...
Didn't creep at all.
I know, right? It was a little creepy.
No, really.
But listen,
but she a woman though, so she can get away.
Yeah. But I try not to make it creepy because she doesn't know this whole story. She just thinks we're ironically ended at the bathroom at the same time.
Okay.
So she comes out because she's waiting for her friend, and I'm acting like I'm waiting for my friend. That's really what happened. She's like, yeah, and she's like, why you asked? I was like, 'cause I don't remember exactly what I said because when I tell you I was so nervous. I just went with the first thing that came to mind.
I know it was something along the lines of...
I know I came back and told you at the time.
Yeah, but she ended up saying something. She was like, well, pretty much like me and my man, we find you attractive.
No, I didn't say that.
You said something about me, and she asked you like, well, you here with your man, so why you here talking to me?
No. So in the bathroom, I just asked her, she like women, and then she was like, yeah. So as soon as she said yeah, that was like all I had to hear was yes, because I was like, okay, cool. So I was like, you want to go take a shot? I probably did something along those lines. So then from there, I know we went to the bar and we got a drink and we took a shot. And then I got her number, and then she went back to them, and I went back to my side. And then that was it for that conversation. Then when we left, we ended up running into each other again. And then when we were out there, that's when we had the conversation where she knew, because at the time I didn't tell her I was in a relationship, and that's one thing that now I let people know, that it's not just me, because I would have told her eventually, but like the conversation was very short. So then she was like, so why didn't you tell me I was at the bar? And I was like, you know, we was at the bar, like we didn't really have a lot of conversation. And then when we were outside, that's when she actually seen us come out together. So then us three kind of conversate, like had a few conversations, and then we got her number, and she was like, yeah, Lisa's cute. And then so from there we kind of started talking for a little bit, and that was that. But I guess to sum everything up, it really just depends where you're at. Like, I'm a type of person, if I find somebody attractive at a grocery store, it's still hard for me to go up to her and try to make conversation. So then I think I did have some liquid courage that night too, because, you know, we were drinking. I was at the bar, so I think that's what helped. And then now I'm trying to get in the habit, like, let me just act on it in that moment without having to drink. So that was just one scenario. So it really just depends. You can't really have like your game of what you would say, because it depends where you're at. It depends on all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
A lot of times I leave sort of I would leave a lot of times I leave the final say up to her, just because I would rather both women involved to make sure that they're on the same page. Because we don't, to be honest, like we don't have time for the egos, and you know, like, because when just like men compare themselves to other men, women compare themselves to each other as well. So it's like the last thing that I want is for it to be some type of ego battle, or they don't get along, or wherever the case. So as long as they're on the same page, then it makes everything go a lot smoother. So it like she said, it's different situations. So one maybe, you know, where I typically will let her shoot the shot first, or if we're all together and we just having a conversation, then we'll just be honest about it without looking creepy. You know what I mean? And then the second thing.
So what do y'all say when y'all are being honest? What are y'all like? We're married and we're trying
to the girl
get a +1. Yeah, like what do y'all say to the girl?
I definitely don't say it like that.
We gonna run them off.
Right, like okay. Alright, I'm gonna head out.
Like -1, but
okay.
But I guess so. With me personally,
somebody said they can't hear.
I
wonder how long they haven't been able to hear.
Yeah, unmute your phone.
Unmute it.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. Can you hear us now?
Oh, were we all muted?
No, it was unmuted, but because I took, you know, microphones are on the Bible.
Can y'all hear now?
He said it's real low. He or she. I'm sorry. I can't tell.
Yeah, it's Mr. Wynn.
Okay.
You actually met him.
Did I?
Yeah, he
goes to the podcast.
I met him though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure if y'all go
if you see him, you'll know who he's talking about.
The name Wynn.
He said yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If I show you,
we'll show you a picture. Can you show a picture?
Yeah.
Well, probably not while I'm on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, I was like, because when we met, I know that he was there.
Yeah. He's always there.
He has a podcast as well.
But I haven't met everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he has the Boys to Men podcast, or B2M.
Oh, he's the one who has a podcast with his friends, and they talk about raising their children.
Kids, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I have met him.
Yeah.
See, we got you.
Yeah.
But so I guess, to be honest, what was your question? How do we
shoot y'all shot?
So it really just depends. Me personally, I start with a conversation and see if she even finds women, like if she even likes women, because I feel like most women, unless you're a lesbian, if you like women and you're not a lesbian, then you'll like men too. So I really don't have a problem with her liking him. If anything, it's us, both of us together, unless she just doesn't find either one of us attractive. But so I start with that, asking that. Well, first I start with a regular question. I don't just walk up to you like, "Hey, do you find women attractive?" I'll start with
like,
"Hey." Right. So that's a lot.
I don't know.
Right.
Right.
You find me attractive? Can I help you? But so I would probably just start with a conversation. It's like a compliment maybe, or just a conversation starter, as if you would do with anyone. Because at the end of the day, I can still find you attractive, but then once I have a conversation with you, I may not find you attractive anymore. So really, we start with the conversation, because one thing we believe in is friendships first, relationships second. We're not going to just jump into a relationship with somebody, because you just never know. So that's personally how I would probably start it if I was to do that.
Okay, that's cool.
You have any other questions?
I don't.
Yeah, you may ask some good questions though.
Do y'all have any questions?
I think it's. Let me see. Honestly, and that's the thing. Like when it cancels out.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we'll get back to one thing before we wrap it up. Your standards. You said you have high standards. So what are some of your standards?
I feel like the way that you approach, I don't really have like a list of standards like these are my standards,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like when you approach me, you have to approach me in a sense of you have to approach me really showing interest. Like you can't just, you got to think like there's women, we hear things all the time on a regular basis, so you have to stand out, you know, outside of what we always hear, like I think you're beautiful, or like
Where are you from?
like just like
Is that a good one?
so this guy messaged me on Messenger on Facebook, and he was just like, can I take you out on a date?
Okay.
To me, I didn't respond. Like I just left him on red, because it's like, you know, I just feel like you have to approach me like you are really interested in me and you really want to get to know me, and so I want you to stand out. I don't really have a way that you can stand out, but yeah. So this one guy, I'll say this one guy, he got my attention.
Okay, how did he get your attention?
So he messaged me on Instagram, but he didn't send a message, he sent a voice note. And in the voice note, he was just like, you know, hey, you know, basically I want to introduce myself to you. I've been following you for a while. I find you attractive. I like your mindset. I like your drive. I see what you're doing. And I'm attracted to that. And I can't remember everything that he said, but whatever he said and however he said it, he had my attention because he stood out. Like, you sent me a voice note. You expressed why you want to take me out. Like, you expressed your interest, and he got my attention. So it's like you have to do things that are going to set you apart in order to get my attention, to get me interested. Not just complimenting how I look. That's not gonna make me want to go out with you. Yeah, it's like yeah.
That's like, and another thing too, on a flip note, that's also how you can stand out from other women too, because men don't really get physical compliments unless it's actually a girl that they're talking to, for the most part.
Really?
Oh man, it ain't every day that I walk out and somebody be like, hey, beautiful.
And hopefully you guys enjoyed this conversation. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You can check out our podcast at Our Minds Lifestyle. Let them know where they can find you again.
Instagram at Brittany Michelle the Artist.
Perfect. And where can they find you?
Instagram at Ethan.Billet. All my links will be in the bio to our podcast, to my online catalog for artists out there, and my YouTube channel. So tap in.
Perfect. And until next time,
Go be great.
go be great.
Go be great.
Right.